Now that the iPhone 14 and 15 have a built-in Satellite SOS option, do you still need to carry a satellite communicator like an InReach or a Zoleo? This is a question I've seen posted many places, many times, and I have seen various different answers, some of which are very wrong. I think it's important that we take a minute to break down the differences between these two types of devices and discuss whether or not the new iPhone is truly a replacement for a dedicated satellite communicator. So for those of you who don't know, the new iPhone 14 and 15 offer limited SOS satellite functionality. If you try to call 911 in an area where you don't have cell phone service, it'll first try to connect to 911 on a different network because that's the emergency protocol. But if that doesn't work, it'll give you the option to text a satellite, and a little indicator will show up on the screen, kind of helping you orient your phone in the right direction. You fill out, like a brief survey about the incident. You know, is it fire? Is it crime? Is it injury? Are you by yourself? And it uploads all of that stuff immediately to the emergency network, which will then connect to local authorities to come and help rescue you. You've got two-way communication with those authorities, which is great. The other features of the iPhone are it does offer satellite tracking, so your loved ones can follow where you are. And if you send all that information to the satellite network when you have an incident, it will send all of that same information, including your location, to whatever your emergency contacts are. So everyone's on the same page at the same time. That's cool. Also worth noting, there is no Android version of this satellite communication yet. There was a version that existed briefly, but it's already been shut down. But I'm certain it's coming soon and it will be pretty similar. There are some advantages to the iPhone setup. You already have your phone on you and will likely have it in an emergency. That's huge. You don't have to remember to take it because most of us take our phones everywhere we go. It also has automatic incident detection. So if you get into a car accident or even like a fall, hiking, mountain biking, riding, if you're using an Apple Watch, it will detect that and alert authorities automatically. iPhone also gives you that little icon that shows you where the satellite is, so you can make sure that you're optimizing your orientation for the best connection and quickest response. And unlike the satellite communicators, the iPhone is not requiring a subscription fee yet. And the key word there is yet. They said it was free for 2 years when it came out, and they just extended it another year back in November. I don't know if that means they're eventually going to charge for the SOS functionality. My guess is they may add some of the features that other satellite communicators have and then charge a subscription for that. It would be pretty messed up to take away your SOS functionality that you think you have, and then you're out in the woods and you hit the button and they're like, sorry, you didn't pay us $6.99, go ahead and die. I feel like that's bad PR, but who knows? Technically, there is supposed to be some kind of subscription fee. They just haven't implemented it yet. Some have reported that the iPhone sends quicker than a satellite communicator, but that's mostly hearsay and your mileage may vary. There is a big advantage to the sort of survey that you fill out when you first send your message, though, in that all of the information about your current situation goes at once. So if either you have a spotty connection and you're not sure you'll be able to follow up, or you're in an emergency situation that warrants your full attention, like you're performing CPR or something, it's all sent and you can get back to doing what you're doing, or you're about to pass out from your injury. I don't know. So that's nice, and the satellite communicators don't do that. You have to actually communicate the details separately. So there are a lot of advantages to having a satellite communicator in your pocket in an emergency situation, but there are also a lot of advantages to the dedicated satellite communicators that already exist, like the Zoleo or the Spot or the InReach. The important thing to remember there is that the iPhone is emergency only. There is no non-emergency messaging. It is simply an oh shit button that you hit when shit goes sideways. That's all it's for. The Zoleo and the InReach work worldwide. The Apple does not. There's a whole slew of restrictions if you look in the fine print on their website. It works in a lot of European countries, the US, obviously, Australia, the UK, but not all over the world, not in the middle of the ocean. Not that a lot of us are riding our motorcycles in the ocean, but just FYI. The dedicated satellite communicators are more rugged. They're built for use in the outdoors. They're waterproof, they're shockproof. You can wear them or carry them externally because you don't have to worry about them getting broken like you would a phone. I carry my InReach on my shoulder so that it's accessible to anyone who finds me and to myself. It's bright orange, so you can find it and know that the bright red SOS button on the bright orange thing is how you summon help. You can't do that with an iPhone. It's just not built for that. It's an everyday use device, not a dedicated outdoor accessory. The InReach Mini 2 at least has a much better battery life. Your iPhone's gonna last you a day. The InReach Mini 2 and the Zoleo are designed to last days, if not a week, and that is with constant tracking updates. And having tested the InReach 2 thoroughly, I can tell you that that is the case. It lasts for a very long time. The InReach setup and the Iridium satellite network that it uses is tried and true. It's been tested. There have been over 10,000 rescues using that all over the world. Dedicated, documented, so you know that it's going to work, or it's the most likely to work if you need it. Apple uses the Global Star network, which is the same as Spot. The Zoleo and the InReach use the Iridium network, which has a lot more satellites, at least right now. Texting on the Mini is a pain in the butt, and texting on the Zoleo is impossible without connecting it to your phone, but you can connect to your phone and it's just as easy to text then as it is on an iPhone. The difference being that if your phone is broken or not charged, at least with the InReach, you can still send messages. It's just one letter at a time, so you gotta be succinct. Another big advantage of the dedicated satellite communicators, like the InReach in particular, is that you can add on search and rescue insurance. So it's $40 a year for $100,000 of search and rescue insurance on the InReach Mini. And that is well worth it if you spend any time in the backcountry out of cell phone service. One rescue that you get charged for, and they don't always charge you, but if they do, will bankrupt you. So having that insurance is super helpful, and you can't add that to your iPhone. You can just get insurance, obviously, but it's not as easy, I guess is my point. Great, those are the advantages of both. Which one is better, or what's the difference between them? Let me give you a few scenarios to think about. Scenario one, you break your motorcycle chain 15 miles off the highway way up in the backcountry. You do not have the tools you need to repair it, or you don't know how to repair it. Scenario two, you have to do a tire change, and so you're running a little late and you want to let somebody know. Scenario three, you dislocate your shoulder in a minor crash. The pain is tolerable, but you definitely can't ride a motorcycle out. Scenario four, you're camping with your family. You're going up early to set up camp. You get there and you realize you forgot your prescription. You need to let somebody know to bring it from home. Scenario five, you decide to extend your trip, or your trip is taking longer than you thought, and you want to just let your family know back home that you're not going to be home when you said you were. It's going to be an extra day. And the last scenario, you want to be able to let your loved ones know when you're stopped in camp and safe for the night. Now, just real quickly, think about which of those situations the iPhone helps with and which of those situations the InReach helps with. You don't need that much time because the iPhone does not help you in any of those situations unless you have cell phone service. InReach or the Zoleo allows you to just summon help in a minor incident, like I just need you to come get me in the truck, or bring me tools, or bring me something I forgot. And also let people know when plans change, versus the iPhone being just an oh shit button. It's amazing that Apple is offering this on their phones. I think it's fantastic that this functionality exists that you may buy and not even know that you have, and it exists on a device that you have with you all the time. It's unquestionably going to save lives. Kudos to Apple for that, and I really hope they don't start charging for at least the SOS portion. However, right now, there is still many scenarios in which a dedicated satellite communicator is not only useful, but necessary. Like I said, that iPhone is an oh shit button. It's no better than a personal locator beacon or PLB. All that does is summon the cavalry. I guess it is better in that you can communicate with the cavalry, whereas a PLB is just like, come get me right now, that's all there is. So a satellite communicator and the iPhone are probably equally useful in an emergency situation, but in all of the non-emergency situations that most of us encounter on every trip, or many times at least while we're out in the backcountry, a satellite communicator is infinitely more useful. The InReach is a purpose-built, sturdy device that you can carry on your person and have visible and accessible to you and anyone who might be with you or who might find you in distress. The iPhone isn't built for this and is just as likely to be damaged in the incident as you are. However, redundancy is not a bad thing. There are advantages to having both. There's a reason why I carry my phone and a GPS in the backcountry, because if one fails, I can still navigate with the other. The same applies to communication. There's nothing wrong with having an iPhone in your pocket and a satellite communicator, especially when they use different networks. So you have a better chance of connecting on one if the other one isn't working in an emergency situation. So there are advantages to having both, but the iPhone does not replace the satellite communicator. The satellite communicator can do everything that the iPhone does. For now anyway, the advantages of a dedicated satellite communicator are hard to ignore. If you're a dabbler and don't get out much, then maybe the cost of an InReach, which is the device plus the service, is hard to justify, and the oh shit functionality of the iPhone is enough. But if you're regularly adventuring in places that don't have cell phone service, the satellite communicator is still the most valuable safety tool in your kit. I always say a satellite communicator can eliminate the need for anything else you carry with you. You may not need first aid, you may not need tools if you can summon help or get advice quickly and easily. Not that you shouldn't carry those things, I'm just saying, again, another layer of redundancy. MotoCamp Nerd just happens to stock the InReach and the Zoleos and would be more than happy to help you select the right device for your needs. So head on over to the website and check out each of the devices and all their features so you can decide for yourself. Moto Camp Nerd is the only, and therefore the best, site on the internet dedicated solely to the needs of motorcycle campers. Whatever type of camping and adventuring you like to do, Moto Camp Nerd has all the gear so you can pack small and camp easy.